Let's take it slow. Where you go, I go too. And if you hit the bottom, I'm going down with you. Let's take it slow. Who cares where we gotta be? You know you'll have a good time wherever you're with me. Let's take it slow. Ask me how we got here, 'cause you don't know how. You say we're taking on water, yeah, we're sinking now. You're looking all concerned, like we're gonna drown. But we both know how to swim, no worries, let's go for now. Let's take it slow. Where you go, I go too. And if you hit the bottom, I'm going down with you. Let's take it slow. Who cares where we gotta be? You know you'll have a good time wherever you're with me. Let's take it slow. I drag you out your mind, and there are days I hate you, but baby, you're still mine. And then we have the best times, no matter what we do. And even when we don't, there's nobody I'd rather choose. Let's take it slow. Where you go, I go too. And if you hit the bottom, I'm going down with you. Let's take it slow. Slow. Who cares where we gotta be? You know you'll have a good time wherever you're with me. Let's take it slow. Where you go, I go too. And if you hit the bottom, I'm going down with you. Let's take it slow. Who cares where we gotta be? You know you'll have a good time wherever you're with me.
Well, hello everyone. Hope you are well out there in YouTube land. Today is August 5th, 2024. It is 5:36 p.m. here on the East Coast of the United States. Thank you all so much for joining me. We really do appreciate you. For those that didn't get the late night live stream last night, I'm out of town right now, and I don't know how long I'll be able to be live. Hopefully it'll be a little bit. So the boys are out and doing stuff right now, so we've been doing stuff all day and they're continuing. So I might have a little bit of time. I may have to abruptly end it. I don't know. We'll just have to kind of play it by ear. It's so good to see you all. Again, I'm not in my normal studio right now, so we have to do it the way we got it. All right. Okay. So, before we get started, I need to thank all of you, first of all, mods, members, and chat. Good to see you all. Cindy C., I want to thank you so much for becoming a girl. Girls look amazing on you, Cindy. Really do appreciate you joining the team. Thank you so very much, Cindy. And our sweet Holly. Holly, thank you so much, my dear. My sweet Holly. Thank you so much for gifting a pearl necklace. If you received that pearl necklace, please thank our beloved Holly. Very sweet of you, Holly. And thank you so much for your support. Consider becoming a pearl if you can. Always helps. Yes, YouTuber. Hey, Jude. Thank you, babies. Appreciate you for gifting a pearl necklace. Really do appreciate that, my friend. Thank you for your support. Love you, sweet. Hey, Jude. Thank you, Eileen. Thank you so much. All right. So, you guys, my laptop is on my lap and I'm moving a little bit, so I apologize in advance. I know it might make a little people dizzy, so I apologize. I'm sitting here on the couch. Anywho, so last night we were watching amazing, amazing podcast called The Witness Box. I know a lot of you are subbed up to it. If you have not yet, link is provided in the description for replay and for you guys in chat now. The Witness Box is also now on The Lab, our friend Josh. And then we have, of course, our friend Chris McDonough from the interview room. He is a former homicide detective. He's semi-retired. He still helps with investigations all around the country and also works at the Cold Case Foundation. Very important organization there. Also, Dr. Gary Ricardo, he is just a amazing individual. I just actually got his book on Audible recently, and it's also amazing. Let me see if I can find it this quick. Bear with me. Yep, let me see here. I can't remember. I've got so many audiobooks, it's crazy. But if somebody has it, if somebody knows what it's called, I can't remember what it's called. I apologize. I'll try to put that in the link below here in just a little bit as well. But it is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful audio book on true crime. You guys are true crimers like me. I definitely suggest. Okay, it's called the New Evil. Oops, it's called The New Evil.
Round me rolled.
Oops, I'm playing it there. It's called The New Evil.
In its autumn tint.
Let me see if I can pull it up through here. It's by Michael H. Stone, MD, and Dr. Gary Bricado. Let's see if I can show you here. New Evil. And it is understanding the emergence of the modern violent crime. Wonderful book. It has basically it has almost a 5-star rating. You can't go wrong with it. You can't go wrong with it. Is it free to listen? The podcast is free to listen to. Absolutely, yes. And the book is called The New Evil. Wonderful, wonderful book. I do a lot of Dr. Michael Stone's groundbreaking 22 graduations of the evil scale, and how the hierarchy of evil behavior first introduced in the book The Anatomy of Evil. Stone and Dr. Gary Bricado, a fellow violence and serious psycho psychopathology expert, here provide even more detail using dozens of cases, amplifying the categories along the continuum. The New Evil also presents compelling evidence that since a corporal tipping point in the 1960s, certain types of crimes have emerged that in earlier decades never or very rarely ever occurred. They talk about serial unalivers, serial torture, mass, and I mean it's a wonderful book. Came out in March 5th of 2019. Wonderful book. Highly recommended. Anyway, so yeah, check that out. If you are already subbed to the lab, you just look at it under your videos, is what you looked at under. So, with that being said, I love all of the podcasts that they do. I listen to every single one. But, we're in the Sebastian Rogers case right now is the main case that we cover. Hello, Max Chica. And that is what we're covering mainly. And this was Marlena, one of our mods, came to me, and then I was in a few chat rooms the evening that this came out, and they're like, Justin, please review this, and so I've started doing that, and we're going to be on part 2. And yes, Dr. Gary Bricado, he was speaking about, I think Sherlock Holmes said this, but Dr. Gary said this quote in this podcast: whenever you've eliminated the impossible, whatever remains, no matter how impossible, must be the truth. And in Sebastian's story, in the story of February 25th, going into the 26th, even Chris and Katie themselves have eliminated a lot on their own, right? He's not the type that runs off. He doesn't like to be dirty, right? He doesn't usually go out with shoes, right? He doesn't like loud sounds. He's afraid of the dark. All of those things. So, they've eliminated, or at least narrowed down, a lot of things. When I get back, we're going to do something. It's going to be, like a study session for us. Allergic to grass. Exactly, the black widow. Exactly. And when I get back, we're going to be speaking. We're going to uh, build a network, or you could say kind of a tree of Sebastian's likes, his dislikes. Um, we're going to be doing a network of what Chris claims and Katie claims and even Seth claims, and things that they themselves have narrowed out. It's going to be a several part series that we're going to do. So be ready for that. It's going to be very interesting. Um, we like to get down to the nitty gritty as possible here. I do have the likes and the dislikes, yes, but it's that's going to be a subsection, if you will. You'll get what I mean when I show it all out. But yeah, I do have his likes and his dislikes and all of that, but we haven't done it as how I'm planning on doing it. And we're also going to do the process of eliminations, right? And these are just our opinions as a group. Obviously, we're not law enforcement or anything like that. I look so young. Oh, thank you, Killing Time. I'm halfway to 80, so. Okay. All right. Let's get started. Are you guys ready to get it started? How many stuff do we got? Come on, Mr. Sisters. Just the tip. Just the tip. Hit me, baby, one more time. Come on. If you haven't hit that thumbs up yet, please hit that thumbs up. Would greatly, greatly, greatly appreciate that. And thank you, Marlena, for stating that. Just want to state that the things that I say is my opinion and my opinion alone, what I say, just as you are absolutely welcome to have your opinion. The only thing we ask here is just put in my opinion or IMO or allegedly when you are stating your opinion about something or someone. We are not here to, we're not a judge, we're not a jury. So, we're not here to say anyone is guilty. But what we do is we try to narrow this down and pinpoint what may or may not have happened. So, thank you all so much for your time. Really, really do appreciate it. Without further ado, let's get started. I want to thank Josh and Chris and Dr. Gary Ricardo for this podcast. I mean, it is fantastic, y'all. It is great. So make sure you are subscribed to the lab, and you can find the witness box with Josh, Chris, and Dr. Gary Picardo wherever podcasts are as well. You can also find them on the lab. You just have to look under the video. All right. So last night we got through quite a bit. So we're going to kind of pick up where we left off. We have a late one. Oh my God. Hold on 1 second. Let's get it started. Where are my files? Let's see. Tar Heel to the office, please. You're being paged. Tar Heel to the office, please. You are being paged. We need a late slip for Tar Heel. Yes, the witness box is great. Daly, how are you doing? I just looked at one of my messages last night. Are you okay? Daly's been having some health stuff going on, so we need to keep our sweet Daly in our prayers. Such a sweet human being. I really love her and her husband. They're both wonderful, wonderful, wonderful people. So, all right. On U.S. puppy sitting, pink butterfly. You know, we're not allergic to dogs around here. You can take us. Pink butterfly to the office, please. Butterfly to this. Late slip for pink butterfly. I am slow, much better at testing. Thank you, Angel. Oh, good. Thank the Lord. Praise the Lord. All right. Let's get started, y'all.
Sure, all this doesn't exist. 8 hours, whatever it is, you somehow have to get into that house. And by the way, when you leave, you don't forget to lock the doors. Okay. And secure the windows and turn off the video. Make sure there's no video, make sure there's no Ring cameras, yada yada. Make sure all this doesn't exist. And he somehow, let's put ourselves in the perpetrator's shoes. The guy goes in. First of all, he knows exactly where Sebastian is because he's going to go into his room and not accidentally go into the mother's room.
Think about that. It's brilliant what Chris is saying here, right? We've got to figure out how either Sebastian got out on his own, right? Avoided his scent being vanished from a dog's nose, right? From a dog's nose, right? How would Sebastian have avoided a dog not being able to pick up a scent, especially if he's barefooted or has socks on, right? How would Sebastian have gotten out if he if there's no scent and if he's not on camera, right? There's nothing to also suggest that anything is missing. Even his shoes are not missing, right? More than one dog, yes. And they flew dogs in or traveled from many different states. Avoided any sort of scent, any sort of being on camera, any sort of footprint of anything, any sort of article of clothing being left, anything being dropped. And oh, by the way, we don't think he took anything. He may have taken a flashlight. Mom says she can't find it, right? What is the risk? What is the victimology of Sebastian and around his life? Is he a low risk, medium risk, or high risk? He's on the very, very low risk overall. So is there someone going to also go in and get Sebastian? Well, Chris and Katie has said themselves there is nothing that the windows or screens were disturbed, windows were locked, doors were locked, right? How would this person have known to have gone just in Sebastian's room, right? How would they have known? They didn't leave any sort of evidence, and that includes themselves being on camera, right? Themselves as well. And law enforcement didn't do fingerprints on the door or anywhere around it, which, in my opinion, leads me to believe that they weren't expecting a stranger at any point in this investigation, at least in the beginning, because there's no evidence that this child walked out. So, how did Sebastian get out? That is what we have to ask ourselves. How did he get out? You either walk out by yourself on your own accord, or you are taken out. You can be taken out alive or otherwise, right? So, no scent, nothing on a camera, footprints, anything. The only thing that we do have evidence of with video and, Katie's account, which is also on video, is that at 6 a.m. there was Katie leaving the property, right? So that is one time we know he could have left, either alive or otherwise, or at 3 a.m. or around 3 a.m. We don't have the exact time. We have a pretty good idea on what time it was. And that is when an individual or individuals who a car magically pulls up in the middle of not a driveway or anything else, and there is these flashlights coming from what the news calls the common area of the Proudfoot's home. And then there is some sort of light. You can actually see the outlines of humans' movement in that. And they go around the vehicle for a few minutes, and then one runs back in the direction of the Proudfoot's home. Now, if Sebastian made it back on the evening of February 25th, then he has to have been taken out, in my opinion, at 6 a.m. or at 3 a.m. Please just put in my opinion or allegedly, guys, in the chat if you have an opinion. I personally, absolutely, in my opinion, he made it home. He absolutely made it home, in my opinion. Now, that's just my opinion, but I don't think there was enough time from the restaurant to Katie getting herself to the house to pull off this big thing. And I also remember Katie saying that he went out to change the trash. Now, Katie knows where the cameras can see across the street. In my opinion, she's not going to say that unless it was true that Sebastian really did go take out the trash. I absolutely believe that. And then there we go again. Exactly, Grace. The flashlight, there is activity coming from that home. Why is there activity coming at 3 o'clock in the morning and then going back? He absolutely, in my opinion, made it to that house. It's easy to say, I don't think he made it to the house. But why do you not think he made it to the house? You're absolutely welcome to believe that. I mean, I don't fault anybody on how they believe or about something. You feel how you feel, but I just try to make people think a little bit deeper into why they feel the way they feel is by, us going through the steps, going through each and every single detail. My question was the trash can still at the curb or back at the home when police are. That's a good question, Mohawk. I'll try to remember to ask someone that and try to let you guys know on that. There's no evidence to suggest he didn't make it home. Right. There's no evidence. They had a good day, as they say, as the parent or Katie says. They had a good weekend and they went to eat dinner. Everything was fine at that point. Seth sees the back of Sebastian's, getting in the car, back of his head, him getting in the car. Grace, one of the neighbors did see Sebastian. I believe it was before they went to the restaurant. I think it was before. But, that's another thing. KP does not speak about going and seeing that neighbor. And it was just really a few minutes. But still, why not speak about that? Right? Why not say that? Also, there is, there's nothing. I mean, again, anybody can believe that he didn't make it to the house, but I need to know why you believe that, right? Like, show me some supporting argument on why someone believes that he didn't make it to the house. Because if it's something, in my opinion, more than the time it takes Katie to be from the steakhouse to her home, which it took her just a few minutes based upon, again, the neighbor's Ring camera, everything was fine. They pulled in the garage a little bit later. Someone takes out the trash, and then the evening goes on. Now, then we have 3 a.m. 3 a.m. There is at least 2 individuals that has to be, in my opinion, involved in this. Right? Because one, is seen running back toward the house. The other is driving a vehicle. Now, is there any others? Very possible. Very possible. Could be 3 or 4 even involved in this at the end of the day. But we just don't know yet. Have you heard of the friend who gave CP? No, haven't. Paul and CP had him take photos of him working on his car. I've not heard that, my dear. I apologize. I know that CP was allegedly working on a car at 8 p.m. in Mississippi that day. The neighbor sure did make it known in the Facebook group. She also stated that the niece was with them after groceries. Yep. Isn't the co-worker his best friend? I don't know. I mean, I don't know if CP has, a friend or not, to be quite honest with you. All right, let's get started.
And while he's in there, he either A, wakes him up, or Sebastian's waiting for him without his shoes. Right? And says, all right, you're coming with me because I met you online. Let's go.
Right. And how likely is that? Monica, did any camera catch Katie and Sebastian pulling into the garage after their long day? Yes, that's what I was speaking about. They have the times on, and I'll have to go back and check, of when Seth sees Katie and Sebastian on camera leaving the steakhouse, right? So we have that. They get in the car and they head toward home. Now, I can't remember, again, the time. It's like 10 or 15 minutes later. Katie's vehicle is seen coming down the street, turning in her driveway, and then going into the garage. However, you can't see who's in the car, and you can't see who gets out of a garage, right? So there's that. But again, the supporting argument that I am saying is that, in my opinion, there's not enough time for Katie to do something with Sebastian, if there is foul play, in 10 minutes and still drive home. And then something going on from the common area, and a vehicle pulls up at 3 a.m. So that alone, in my opinion, tells us that Sebastian was home. Oh, really, Janet? Do you know her last name? Angel. Yes, car drives into the garage and the door closes.
Okay. And, we're going to go to Disneyland or Disney World or whatever. Okay. We're out of here. And now this individual gets him out of the house. Okay. Locks the door behind him. And then mom wakes up 6 a.m. and decides, well, it's time for school. Let's go check on Sebastian. So she walks in there and immediately goes into her head, oh, he walked out the door. Does anybody think that sounds logical?
No. And he would have to walk out of the house undetected, nobody noticing anything, middle
Exactly.
of the night or whatever it is, barefoot.
Right, a real pro.
Yeah, it would take a lot to be undetected for this long, running away, being a
Yeah, a 15-year-old autistic.
15-year-old.
Can somebody name another?
A 15-year-old with a chromosome deletion and also has autism. Now, I don't know how a human being barefooted in the dark with supposedly nothing except maybe a light is going to hide their scent. You have nothing, right? You have nothing to hide your scent with. And it's very hard to do that anyways. People says, oh, well, you can do, like cayenne pepper and stuff like that. Well, that doesn't actually change the scent. It just makes the dog's nasals burn is what it does. That's the only thing it does. It doesn't change the scent of it. Justin, how do you feel about the opinions of Aiden from Laura Lodge? I was shocked that he assumes Sebastian is still alive. I really hope he is. Yeah, he may have done that for a reason, in my opinion. I don't know. I can't speak for him. But I do think he, I mean, I think he's, a good, I like to hear his opinions on stuff. What he does is he basically narrates, all of the news that has been going on for the past, 5 months, and he whittles it down into like 3 videos, So I think he did a wonderful job at that. And again, the way I took away from it is he clearly thinks someone has done some nefarious things here. And look at any professional that has looked at this case, who has or been in law enforcement, any type of opinions that former or former police officers, any professional, word analysis, profilers, all of that have said. And the deductive reasoning tells us that Sebastian couldn't have walked off by himself. There's nothing to suggest otherwise. There's nothing to suggest otherwise. Right? Yes, please make your cursey words instead of DEAD, right, unalive, or something like that, if you don't mind. Just have to be a little bit creative with it. Yes, and that's exactly right, Elisa. A lot of people thinks you can confuse the dogs with the scent, right? Dogs, there's layers of smells, right? And a dog can, something our brain can't do very good, right? They can pick up the different layers. If someone has literally walked in my shoes before, right? They would still be able to smell me if they needed it. But they would also be able to smell the other person if they needed it as well. Okay, thank you, Hey Jude. Thank you so much, my dear. Yeah, there were horses and there were all that stuff. So, yeah, the nose of a dog is amazing, absolutely amazing.
Another case? Anybody?
Where
The
the
last-
the same
last-
question arose of
Yeah.
this
Can
ridiculous story?
anybody name a national case where a child was taken out of the house outside of Polly Klaus, outside of Elizabeth Smart?
Listen,
Can anybody name another case where the suspect came into the house totally undetected?
Yep.
And by the way, the Polly Klaus case was solved. The Elizabeth Smart case was solved. Okay? Because these guys were wrecking balls when they came into the house.
Name a case. Name a case. Right? Besides from the two cases there. There is none. Other than, well, JonBenet Ramsey, yeah. JonBenet Ramsey, yes. Now that one is unsolved. Now that one, I think, can be solved even today if the authorities would let them test that DNA. Right? Let them test that DNA. It is so rare, y'all. It is, listen to this. It is so rare to be abducted by a stranger. Extraordinarily rare for a stranger child abduction. A handful, a very small handful, and that's too many per year. That is an actual, they don't know each other from Adam, right? Yes, less than 1% chance. And that is usually a crime of opportunity, right? No, Sebastian was not abducted, in my opinion. Not in my opinion. But that is usually a crime of opportunity when a child is being unattended outside, right? And the perpetrator is, or the child is, close to the road. Monica, Madeline McCain, I beg to differ on that one. You can't say a lot about that case on here because there is way too many holes in that story. Nope, I would beg to differ on that one. But anyway, it's usually a crime of opportunity. The child is walking home from school, right? Walking to a friend's house or whatever. They're out, usually close to the road. The vehicle is close to the road because once the perpetrator makes that decision, right, to grab a child, whether they actually get the child or not, they've got to move quick, right? So it is something that is so rare. Riding bikes, yes. anything like that. It's usually it's a small, very, very, very unlikely, but it does happen. Now, again, it's a crime of opportunity normally, just like in Michael Vaughn's case. In my opinion, it was a crime of opportunity. But you get to speaking about someone going in your house. Well, that's a whole different ball game, right? Now, this regular stranger has no idea who's in the house, right? Necessarily, they have no idea who's in the house, right? They don't know if somebody is got pews or other something that can mess them up, right? That takes a lot of kahunas to do something like that. And it's very, very unlikely. No one came in Sebastian's house, in my opinion. I would bet, in my opinion, just about anything on that.
And, they left evidence, i.e., something or somebody saw something, or they left something on the, when the polycloth situation, he left stuff on the window, the window frame.
The only case that comes to mind is the famous Edward Paisnell case, the Beast of Jersey, who would take a ladder or whatever and climb up to a child's
What year was that?
Oh, I actually have it in my records because I don't remember off the top of my head. I know he
the
was active between
or the Lindbergh baby,
57 and 71. I have.
Okay, so the 70s, right?
Yeah, he goes in and he would take the children. He didn't kill them, but he would assault them, and he would literally go up a ladder. Well, that's a whole elaborate story. That's like we could do an episode on it. But the thing about him was,
yeah, knock knock, Sebastian, hurry, we have to go. But that would be fine if even Chris said that didn't happen. Katie said that didn't happen. Not only that, there's no evidence to suggest that. I mean, if someone was knocking at the door, you have to remember there are cameras that can see the front door, right? There are cameras that you cannot get out of that neighborhood via, especially a car, without being seen. You just can't. I mean, it's a good theory if there were actually something to base it on. Sebastian's window. No evidence to suggest that windows were locked, and regardless, you would be seen on camera because his window is right beside the front door. It's in the front part of the house. Well, it's not about how would Katie know. It's about how anyone would know because you could see it on camera. You can actually see it on camera. And also what does someone do? Just pick him up and carry him a mile down the road? How did he not leave a scent? Whose camera? Oh, let me show you. Please, I will gladly show you. Let me show you the cameras in this neighborhood. I would love to show you. Bear with me 1 second. I think I'm going to have to start a new file one. So my file's getting way too big. I've got so many stuff here. It's crazy. Let me show you the one and only path Sebastian Rogers could have taken to have not been seen. Every one of these white dots or yellow, oops, hold on, let me take this down real quick. Every one of these right here, these white dots, yellow lines, there is at least one camera, the only way Sebastian could have been seen, not seen, is this. And then is going through this red path. And that is statistically almost impossible to go this one singular path. Yes, and these white dots, it's at least one camera. Most have more. Number one. Number two, even if he did take this red line, which is almost statistically impossible, it still doesn't discount him not having a scent. It still doesn't discount that. So there's that.
That's the infamous guy. You've probably seen photos of him where he made that very peculiar outfit to be very scary.
Who has what video? Cricket Day.
Where he had all the creepy Halloween masks that were sort of merged into one ugly mask.
Right.
And wear bracelets with nails and
But
things.
he didn't.
It was really to terrify.
Oh, nobody carried him out. Oh, you mean like, hold on. I don't understand what you're saying. Let me pull myself up here. Oh, who has that? At least 3 neighbors have that. At least 3 neighbors. They have the person going in that neighborhood. They just need to find Sebastian is what they need.
By the child.
But he didn't abduct them out of the house.
Yes, he did. He would take a ladder up to their bedroom window, take them down, bring them to a place where he had set up what was supposed to look like an altar and tell them he was going to kill them there. And the idea was just to scare them. He was a guy that played Santa at Christmas time in the neighborhood.
Did he bring them back?
And he would bring them home.
Right.
He didn't kill them. But that is one of the most bizarre cases. In fact, I'm writing about it for the new book. That's why it came to mind. But it's a really weird case, Chris. That doesn't happen here, right?
The guy's not leaving ladders up alongside, Sebastian.
Yeah, the Lindbergh abductor put a ladder also, right?
Right. That was in the 30s. But
right.
so let's again. That's my point.
Right.
If anything, okay, they're the ones that have occurred. They've been arrested. They've been captured. Now.
Oh yeah.
Now you take the 2 boys in Bakersfield. Okay. The boys in Bakersfield.
Yep. Cal City.
And you start overlaying what the parents were saying. Okay. And do you see any similarities into what you're hearing here?
Yeah.
Okay. Are there correlations to that? Okay. But I think the most telling piece of that, one of them, the most telling piece here of, DLR does not look right or sound right. is when mom says, yeah, I hear a thud. Okay. And then, 6 a.m, I go in there and he's not there. And then she says, well, I don't know why he would walk out the door. Well, first of all, you weren't asked that. And second of all, why are you volunteering that information when you supposedly should not know what happened? Because that's why you called the authorities. You called the authorities to help because you didn't know what happened to your child. And then all of a sudden in a news interview, you know that he walked out that door, but you don't know why. That is a problem, America.
That is a problem, America. I don't know. I don't know why he walked out that door. It's not like we are fighting or anything, right? We had a good weekend. It would have made more sense if we had been fighting or something. Right. Thank you, Zoo. I hear a thud, but I didn't check, right? Just went to bed, talked to CP in the, rather late night up until, 11:30 or just before midnight. A 2-hour phone call. It was very lengthy, Chris says. And why is Chris speaking to her at almost midnight? He had all weekend to speak to her. He had to be at work early the next day, right? Justin, is the gazebo owned by anyone? Yes, it is owned by someone. Yes. It's owned by the neighbor. In where the house is in front of it. So there's that.
And, now, I guess people can spin it in any way, direction, form they want. Okay? But the other problem now that we have is secondary post-incident behavior. Who's doing what? What's the stepdad doing?
Preach it.
What's the biological mother doing? What's the biological father doing? What's the grandmother doing? What's the grandfather doing?
Well, that's a good question. What are they doing? The only person we know what they were doing is Seth. We know he was literally inside of a jail for 12 hours, right? Now, Chris, he alleges he is in, Mississippi, but we don't have proof of that, right? It's like, when someone says, what's your alibi? Oh, I was at home sleeping. That's the worst alibi you can have. That's the worst alibi you can have. Blanken, thank you so much, my dear. Really do appreciate your support. Thank you, love. Thank you so much, Nathan. Really appreciate it. Now, where was Katie? Well, Katie says she's in her bedroom from about midnight to 6 a.m. 6 hours, she says, about she's sleeping. Okay. Now, one could say that, in my opinion, they're probably wasn't any sleep going on for her in that house that night. If there is involvement of something nefarious going on here, well, let's think about that, right? She says she goes to sleep at midnight. Sebastian goes to bed at 9, right? But at 10 p.m., around 10 p.m., she hears a thud. Now, again, if there is something nefarious going on in that house, she says she goes to bed at midnight. And if there is something nefarious, we have someone walking from the common area and running back to the house at 3 a.m., right? And then 3 hours later, if there is foul play at 6 a.m., she says she's waking up. But if there is foul play, right, you told us you was up at 9 p.m., right? That's when Sebastian was going to bed. You told us you was up at 10 p.m. because that's when you heard a thud, and you was also talking on the phone and also studying up until almost midnight, right? That is when you say you went to bed. But then we have 3 a.m. where someone could have allegedly came from that home and then runs back toward the home at 3 a.m. 3 hours later, there is when she supposedly wakes up. I don't think there was any sleeping going on in that house that night by at least one person. Yes. Remember that silhouette in the window at 11:30? What was that? A nervous mother waiting for a getaway car, and then I don't know. I really don't know. Interesting.
Are they hiring attorneys? Have they used the same attorneys in other incidences?
Oh. Now, CP and KP says they have, as of the last time that they were on YouTube, the last few times, they said that they have not retained any attorneys, is what I believe allegedly was said. However, you could also, Chris likes semantics, doesn't he? He loves semantics about how things are stated. Chris just mentioned here, McDonough. He just mentioned, have they used the same attorneys before in other cases? What do you guys, do you think Chris, in your opinion, has likely used the same attorney before? Maybe the attorney that was used against Nina? maybe the friend of the family attorney. Brenda, very could be. You never know. So in that case, CP would not really have to do probably a retainer, would he? Because he's, friends with the family. Right, GLB. Right.
i.e., divorces, that kind of stuff. Okay. And you start looking at that. And then you start really digging into each of their backgrounds, i.e., what we call a suspectology.
Yep.
And then the authorities then need to step their game up, and they need to tell the public, in my opinion, and I said this about the hat in the Rachel Marin case, where they were holding back the Nike hat, where they got the some of the DNA off of that. And
Mama Bear makes a good point. Fluid on the brain was enough to remember to never let Sebastian have a bike, skateboard, or contact sports, but thus was never checked to make sure he didn't hit his head. Right. Very well stated. It wasn't technically fluid on the brain. It was kind of a pocket of fluid in his skull somewhere. However, he did have seizures at times, right? But he hadn't had any in a while. But I think as a parent, you're always naturally worried one could happen, right? You hear a thud and you know there's a pocket of fluid in your child's skull, and he has special needs anyways, and he has had seizures in his lifetime, several. You're going to check. There was no sign a child lived in that home.
And the drinking
I don't
water.
know, and I want to be fair on that, because I just thought there was nothing to suggest a child lived on the outside of that home now, but on the inside, I don't know, because I haven't seen photos of how Chris and Katie and all of them had it decorated and stuff. The pictures we see is whenever the when they were the house was being sold, right before Chris and Katie died.
I remember when you said that. I remember this.
And next thing you know, a couple of days later, they had a podcast, and they said, "Oh well, yeah, we have this Nike hat." Okay. Well, guess what? That guy was around for 5 months wearing a Nike hat. They arrested him with a Nike hat on. Wouldn't that have been nice to know right up front that they had a Nike hat and put it out into the environment? Okay. Instead, they put a sketch out. Okay. But they didn't tell the public. And in this case, they need to tell the public, look, either the biological father is eliminated and he's not a person of interest, because we have him on video at work, which he said he was from the last time I checked. The sheriff that he worked with allegedly said he was here. Okay, then what's his motive to kidnap his own child? Again, we go back to take the kid away from her because they're having a domestic argument or whatever.
Now, we have to think about that. What would be the motive for Seth to kidnap his own child? when he was getting him in the first place, right? He was getting him as soon as school was out. Now, you can look at it also another way. What did, people's like, well, Sebastian was getting ready to be out of CP's and KP's house anyways soon, right? However, it is clear, at least in my opinion, that CP did not want Sebastian in that house, right? The way I think of it is you have CP in the middle, Seth over here, and Katie over here. And the common denominator is the middle, CP. He's trying to talk to Katie, I don't want him around my daughter, right? He is calling, making my life hard. I'm trying to get my daughter, right? He needs to go live with his father, right? He's pushing Katie, pushing Katie, pushing Katie. If that doesn't happen, we're done, right? Having trouble in their relationship, right? So then they are the man in the middle, so to speak, is speaking to both of them. He's, in my opinion, because I don't think Seth and Katie really spoke a lot. I think there was someone in the middle kind of manipulating the situation and how things need to be held. Seth had no motives at all. He wanted his son. He moved closer to be with his son, right? Moved from California to be with his son. Now, that says a lot to me, if you ask me. Thank you, Ellen. Appreciate it. Thank you for being here. Now, you can't say Chris did that for his. So, Seth moved across the country to be in Tennessee, to be closer to his son. So there's that. Hey, Lee, good to see you. Hey, Icy.
Custody problem? Well, great. Then he also has to get the kid's medicine. So check on those lanes. And if that medicine, again, has not been had for that child, then the biological dad's a high probability he's not stashing the kid somewhere. Okay? Because that would be foolish, to take your kid and wait for 3.
Cricket. I've addressed you several times, even last night. I have acknowledged everything in this case. I have acknowledged everything in this case. And again, like I've told you last night, fill the gap. Really. I mean, if you can do it better, then fill the gap. I mean, because every theory that you just thrown out there, I have told you and said to you that, okay, someone went to the door. Well, they would have been seen, right? There would have been a scent of Sebastian, right? I mean, I literally just went through all of those with you. I mean, you're so, listen, the last thing any person wants to think about is someone, especially a parent, harming a child. That's the last thing. Some people can't get over their feelings about some person they don't like or whatever. It's never anything personal. When it comes to just because I don't like someone doesn't mean I'm going to blame them or otherwise, right? Some people just can't stand can't stand Seth, or for whatever reason, right? And that's fine. That's absolutely fine. Okay, let's pretend CPS was preventing Sebastian from going to live with Seth. What if he didn't want to? That's fine. That's fine. But this is what I'm saying to you. We have to go on what we know about that night and what we know about the video and what we know that the cops have told us. There is no scent of Sebastian leaving that house. You can't hide your scent. You can't hide your scent. You can't hide being in front of a camera. Right. I mean, you can say, well, what about CPs? I mean, that's a motive, is what you're talking about. You're speaking about a motive. I'm speaking about how the hell this child got out of his house. Because really, it doesn't matter really who did this at the end of the day. It's about finding, and this is so cheesy because everyone says it's about doing this. It's really about finding Sebastian. The police will take care of the rest. Justice will hopefully be served. But just saying, you're giving me a motive, right? So, you can say, well, what about this? What about that? That's what I try to do on my channel, because I understand a lot of people's like, well, I think this happened. I think that happened. Great. Let's explore it. Let's explore it. And we explore it. And then when we explore it, we're like, oh, that kind of, puts a cork in your theory there. Right. And we don't do some big, grandiose, I can't even think of the word right now. God, it's on the end of I can't even think of it right now. Theories on like some big, grandiose scenarios on here. It has to match up with the timelines. And it's not because I wanted to push it that way. That's not the way I roll here. Because if you are truly here for true crime, you're not going to just make up stuff. You're not going to just put the timelines where you think they should be. You've got to have solid, right? You can build off of that, but there has to be something. You've got to have some time frames. You've got to have a timeline, and it's got to make sense. It has to make sense. By just saying that I think this happened. Okay, you can think that. Think it till the cows come home. But me and, my pearls here, we think deeper here. We're not here for the drama. We're not here for anything about that. Every crime has a motive. It sure does. Yes, it does. It absolutely does. Every single crime has a motive, but there are also crime. Well, I mean, of course you have to have a motive, but the motive has to fit with the evidence. The evidence, right? Yeah, Mark, even the statistics is, I mean, it's less than, oh my God, probably less than 1/10 of 1% or something of someone stranger coming in your home, abducting, especially a 15-year-old. It's, and again, there has to be a scent. There has to be a camera. There has to be something. And listen, I am sitting here telling you the things that we have, the timelines that we know, right? The words that come from the parents, the step parents, right? The words that come from the police. That is what we use. Interviews with people in that neighborhood, right? That I speak with. A few people. It's not about just, see, most people, a lot of people in true crime, they can't separate their feelings about someone versus what is actually going on. Something irritates them about that person. Something irritates their soul. But you can't take it personally. It is what it is. And that's why I tell every single one of you, and I wish people in true crime listened more about this. What you think and what I think and what anybody thinks happened to Sebastian. People get all worked up about what what people think, what I think, or what others think, or whatever has happened to Sebastian on February 25th, 2024, or February 26th, 2024, has already happened to him. It's already happened. My opinion, anybody's opinion, is not going to change that. It's about learning a little bit more. And we stay out of the drama. That's just what we do here. So we don't do with that stuff here.
3 years till he hit 18, and the statute of limitations hasn't expired. And guess what? You're going to prison for filing a false, report and a kidnapping, quite frankly, at that point. So now you shift back and you say, okay, well, where was the child last seen? Oh, wait a minute. Let me check. It was in his bedroom and there was a thump heard. But somehow mom knows that he walked out the door. And the dad's just going to parrot that information, because if you see during the videos, he just keeps looking over at her like, yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's the ticket. Yep, keep going, keep running. Okay. So,
Mama Bear says Proudfoots attend no prayer vigils, no public plea for return of son, no searching for him, and move 3.5 hours away from home when he walks back in the door. Yeah. I can't imagine personally that leaving your home, the only place Sebastian knew, right? Other than his dad's, but he supposedly walked out the door from his home with, where he lived most of the time. Can't imagine a mother leaving her home to be with a man in a camper who's working. Fine, you need to work, understandable. Go for it. But this was in the very early days. Right? The very early days. That's exactly right, saying. You can't make it fit to your standards. You can't push, you can't prod and make it fit if it just isn't so. And that's where, we get into, and this was the word I was trying to find earlier. I just couldn't find it. Conspiracy theories. Once people start getting into the wild conspiracy theories, just wild conspiracy theories, I don't do it. Sebastian's mom and stepdad. Yeah. So, conspiracy theories, when it comes to a 15-year-old missing autistic child, is a no bueno. No bueno. Doesn't work for me. And, the most simple of theories is usually, right? Man only thinks a certain way, right? And, the saying, if a man thinketh, so he can become, right? But also, if someone thought, another human being thought about how to hide a crime, hide a person, that means another human being can find the answer as well. If someone thought of how to do that crime, we can also find how they done it. If they can think it, I can think it. You can think it. Right? But here we we think a little deeper here on this channel. We don't just say, well, I think this happened. Okay, well, that's fine, but let's explore why you think that happened. Let's put a hole in that theory. If you can put a hole in that theory, then it probably didn't happen, right? If you can't put a hole in that theory and all the times and everything fits, then that is a possible theory that could have happened, right? But that's just the channel I am. So,
You know, that's not rocket science. So I would go talk to his first wife, Sarah. Then I'd go to his second wife, Stephanie, and then Rachel. Then, of course, Nina. And you're married to Katie, and see what they all have to say. And I know Nina, because I watched some of the stuff that came out a while ago on this thing. You know, she laid a whole bunch of stuff out there. But what about the other wives? This guy's had 5 wives. Why? Well, you know, sounds like he has relationship problems. And then I'd be curious what the wives say about the mother-in-law. That would really pique my interest as an investigator. What do they say about his mother? Because women know, especially wives, they know what the mother-in-laws, either they like them or they hate them.
Yeah, very little middle ground there.
Right.
I mean, can you imagine a man? This man has had 5 wives. He's 40 years old, y'all. He's on his 5th marriage. Listen, you can't be wrong 5 times. I mean, you got to start looking inner, right? You've got to look inwards at that time. At 5 times, you cannot pick 5 times bad, right? That is when you have to look inwards. But this is the problem. Narcissists don't generally change, right? They don't generally change. They don't change, actually. And I don't use narcissist very, very often. In fact, I think it's way overused, right? Way overused. But I think this is who he is, you know, thinks he knows more than everyone, thinks he's superior, and if it doesn't fit his lifestyle, Mark, he should have been, that would have probably fit his lifestyle better, Mark, to be quite honest with you. Don't marry, you know, or maybe move to Utah or something. I don't know. But 5 times, right? And still thinks, oh, and if he doesn't like what he does, then, or what the person does, he just gets rid of them. Just like the animals that he did, just like the wives that he did, right? Over and over and over.
Right. So I want to know if there's any smoke there as an investigator. And if there's smoke, there's fire. And you chase that fire until you get a behavioral workup of what both of these parties look like. And I do the same for Katie. Go back and interview anybody that's been in her life, ex-boyfriends. How is she around children? How is he around children? Have they ever been arrested? Have they ever been under suspicion by Department of, Social Services or child, protective agencies? Are there any court orders that ever existed?
Hey guys, I will be back probably about 9 or 10 o'clock Eastern. So I'll be back. We're going to go to dinner and stuff right now. I will be back 9 to 10 p.m. Eastern tonight. You want to, Josh, you want to jump up later tonight? Come on, jump up later. You haven't been on a panel in a long time. So you can talk about your stuff. Listen, I'm promoting you. Come on. Thank you, MTB. I'll text him and see if he'll come up later. All right, guys. I love you all. Appreciate you. I'll be back in a little bit. We love Josh. I'll text him. Okay. We love Josh. He's a just honest to God. Honest to God. The three on here are just the best people you could ever meet, honestly. Love you guys. I'll see y'all later.